The Poltergeist curse has been mysterious since the first movie's release. The curse allegedly affected all 3 movies in the franchise, and their cast and crews. Some speculated that the curse was responsible for the untimely deaths of several of its leading actors, and all the other weird things going on. The curse reportedly began with one of the most famous scenes. It features Diane, played by JoBeth Williams, plunging into the family's pool full of bones. That said, you might not be aware that those skeletons are real. The cast of Poltergeist wasn't either. In a 2006 episode of TV Land's TV Myths and Legends, Williams claimed, "In my innocence and naivete, I assumed that they were not genuine skeletons. I assumed that they were prop skeletons made out of plastic or rubber. I found out, as did the crew, that they were using real skeletons because it's far too expensive to make fake skeletons out of rubber." In 1982, the month after Poltergeist hit theaters, Dominique Dunne, 22, who played Diana, the family's elder daughter, was killed. She died 5 days after Dunne's abusive ex-boyfriend strangled her in her driveway. Will Sampson, a Native American actor who starred in Poltergeist 2: The Other Side, performed an exorcism on the set of the second movie. Why did they perform the exorcism? Because of the usage of actual skeletons on the first movie set. Williams claimed that he arrived at the set late at night to execute it. The cast reportedly felt relieved the following day, but Dominique wasn't the only person who went through a tragic death. Kane in Poltergeist 2: The Other Side actor Julian Beck passed away at age 60 from stomach cancer. Sampson, the actor who carried out the exorcism, passed away at 53 from malnutrition and post-operative kidney failure in June 1987. He was given the diagnosis before he agreed to play the part, and he passed away in September 1985, months before the movie hit theaters. Some fans still believe that the curse is to blame for their deaths, even if it may not seem that rare. And the deaths don't stop there. Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann in the classic Poltergeist film and famously uttered the line, "They're here," was incredibly young when she passed away from cardiac arrest. She passed away in February 1988 at 12, a few months before Poltergeist 3, the last installment in the original series, was published. Another actor, Lou Perryman, a minor character, died after portraying Pugsley in the first movie. A freshly released ex-convict killed him with an axe in his own home when he was 67 years old. But other bizarre things also went on in the set of Poltergeist, other than dying. It's safe to say that the crowd was astonished by the 5-year-old Heather O'Rourke's breathtakingly innocent portrayal of Carol Ann. She didn't entirely fall out of the sky, but how she was cast did appear nearly supernatural. In a 1982 interview with American Premiere, Spielberg said, "For Poltergeist, I wanted a beatific child, every mother's dream." He put a few young girls through screen tests, including Drew Barrymore, who he later cast in E.T., but none exactly suited the bill. Fortunately, the producer saw O'Rourke dining with her mother one day while he was having lunch in the MGM cafeteria. She immediately left an impression on him, and hence she was cast for the role and given a deal the next day. If you think about the movie for a moment, you'll probably only be able to name a few things that define it as Poltergeist in the strictest sense. It is difficult to think that Zelda Rubinstein was only on the set filming for 6 days out of the 12-week shooting period, given the importance of her courageous medium Tangina. Naturally, she was excellent in the role, and according to what she told Ain't It Cool News, everything she filmed was used in the movie. She was ideal for the job, and Rubinstein's belief in the paranormal may have played a role in that. Have you seen the scene in which the clown choked Robbins? Well, it was real. During filming, the arm was taken off Robin's neck and reverse played to make it appear as though it had wrapped around him. Thankfully, everything went down without a hitch, but the next few seconds proved risky because the evil clown wasn't finished with Robbins. The actor explained, "The device got stuck around my neck," to the now defunct magazine Icons of Fright. "I was in a tight, constricted place under the bed, which made matters worse. Luckily, the producer was keeping an eye out for safety." Here's another bizarre thing that went on behind the scenes. It's impossible to watch Poltergeist and not think that the characters are genuinely terrified. In addition to the outstanding performances, it could have helped if the actors had been somewhat afraid. However, much like in a good ghost story, what frightened them was what they couldn't see. According to Robbins, who spoke to the Daily Mail, Hooper encouraged the children to envision the scariest things they could think of to assist them in getting in the correct mindset. He said, "I'm almost certain that our performances are as strong as they are," adding, "because we were tapping into something authentic, and they weren't forced and coming from a real place within us." However, adults were also terrified, and as their on-screen mother, Jo Beth Williams, explained on her Reddit AMA, this anxiety impacted everyone. She explained, "Because we were supposed to be scared so much," she said, "I think everybody's nerves were hypersensitive. Imagine how scared everybody would be in the room." But with all these bizarre things happening, does the Poltergeist have a haunted story? The best movie in the franchise is unquestionably the original Poltergeist from 1982, even by today's standards. This ingenious mashup of Steven Spielberg's storytelling and terrifying special effects works as a successful horror film, but the reader would be surprised to hear that some of the supernatural elements in the movie were reminiscent of actual occurrences. Spielberg instructed the screenwriters, Michael Gree and Mark Victor, to consult real psychics and ghost hunters for ideas to give the movie a more realistic portrayal of haunted houses. This practice was carried on in the sequels, which may explain why parapsychologist and spirit guide characters play such a prominent part in the series. The cruel and senseless murder of Dominique Dunne started rumors that Poltergeist was cursed. Despite these speculations, the movie writers decided to work on a sequel, despite the problematic production. When a creature effect known as the vomit monster kept breaking down, actor Craig T. Nelson was forced to pretend to throw up for more than 10 hours, which put a complete stop to the production. The cast and crew left for the day, when director Brian Gibson ultimately thought he had a shot.
There's a difference. Did you see that?
There'll be two more in a couple of seconds. They always travel in pairs. Dr. Casey.
The film had been harmed overnight and rendered useless the following morning, which meant they would have to undergo the dreadful procedure all over again. And these incidents weren't the only ones. The third installment of the Poltergeist series was a low point for the series, and many of those involved. Although Zelda Rubinstein also came back, none of the other cast members expressed any interest. On this shoot too, there were numerous failures and mishaps involving special effects, including the director Gary Sherman breaking his leg, and because of the malfunctioning underwater catapult equipment, a stuntman tore apart his shins. Another fatality happened when the construction engineer assisted the movie's production team. He was discovered dead in his chair mid-shift, though there was no indication of foul play. And if things weren't bad enough, Rubinstein received yet another psychic premonition, but this time it was about her mother's death. Ultimately, whether or not you believe in curses surrounding these movies, it's undeniable that unfortunate events have been associated with them since their releases long ago. All leads us back to question what exactly could be behind such darkness.